takes a couple seconds till it really streams over to LinkedIn. So, hi Melanie, and hi everybody. You are watching or listening to our LinkedIn Live by Lean42. My name is Karsten, and I'm your host today. Lean42, we are CIO advisors in Europe and North America, and we are also hosting the Lean Leader Summit in July in Munich. It's a conference for CIOs, digital leaders, enterprise architects, and other functions. And one of our speakers, I'm very honored, is Melanie. Melanie Wohnert is already coming back to the conference. So tell us, the audience, a little bit about yourself, and also maybe what made you come back. What did you like about last time, maybe?
Yeah. Okay. What did I like about the last time? I liked especially the atmosphere. So it was really a cool atmosphere, outstanding. So I'm very used to speak at conferences, and you feel this different kind of atmosphere. If it is, if it's more a conference with people coming in their business role only, or if people are coming really interested, really open, and wanting to shift something, wanting to be part of the change. And this is what I liked a lot at the Lean conference. That this was the case. That there was this atmosphere of, yeah, we really want to change something. This is why I came back.
Very good. And tell us a little bit about your background. What made you go into like also speaking, and like you're a well-known expert in like other conferences as well, and in the agile and mindset space. So what's your background?
Yeah, my background. So, long time ago, I studied mathematics, and I worked in IT years before I finished my studies, because Munich is an expensive place for studying. So this was my first thing to hire IT projects and to get an IT. And then it was clear after studies that I got into IT projects, and yeah, I made career there. So from programming myself and being in different customer projects, then on and on to get a leadership person. In the end, I had how do you say? I led about around 150 people, and in international projects, and it was a very nice time. And during this time, it was now when I made the step into leadership. It was around 2008, 2009. And since there, I was also speaking at conferences, because I was very interested in exchanging about leadership experiences, and then following also agile, because we made agile projects in huge scale, and this was a very new time for doing this. And their conferences were really really important for us to get insights also from other companies who do this, and about their best experiences, about things that did work and didn't work.
Mhm, mhm.
And this is where I came into speaking. And well, since then, a lot changed, because I once felt like, is this really what I want to do in life? Is this really all? And then I made a shift and got into self-employance, and I'm doing trainings since then for agile and for mindfulness, because this played a huge role in my shift.
Very good, very interesting, and I love your journey there, and it clearly speaks to kind of like your experience, and really having this dear to your heart, and being driven by this. So just for everybody that's listening to this live, you can ask questions on the LinkedIn form. We can then like work those through. So please go ahead with that. And if you want to know more about the talk and like all this, there is a conference that we kind of like make this kind of like a prequel to, and you can go have a look at that, sign up for it. We'll also post a link to it in the comments as well, so you can sign up for that. But tell me a little bit, Melanie, what's kind of like your key aspect for the presentation? What are you kind of like looking to get across in July at the Lean Leader Summit?
Yeah, well, so I choose the title, Hey Leaders, the Grassroots Transformation is completed. It's your turn now. And so this title says a lot about what it is about. And what drives me to get into this topic is the current situation in many medium-sized companies as well as large corporations. And if we are honest, many of these companies are stuck. They wouldn't say this about themselves, but in reality, they are stuck. They know that change is coming, and almost everyone has recognized that the old models have had their day, and they can no longer avoid agility, lean, whatever. And nearly every company implemented new frameworks, work styles, tools on the team level. And more teams are affected, wide more than only IT in between. So most teams are in the process of converting their processes. But viewed from two levels higher, all the efforts show that all the change is not having the desired effects. And you can ask yourself, where are now these increased lead times, the skyrocketing innovation rate, the faster implementation of new ideas, and this faster time to market? Is it really there? And if managers and leadership persons ask this, then comes the critical point. Because when they don't see the desired effects, they tend to keep changing, and this is right. But mostly they keep their focus of change on the team level. And the obstacles that stand in the way of the true effectiveness are not at the team level, not at all. They lie 1 to 3 levels above, in old, rigid structures, in apparently unchangeable internal company processes or guidelines, in a lack of lived leadership, in stressed leadership persons that have no time for real change, and so on. And and yeah, and this is really a problem, because there is a leader, I would call it, it's a real leadership gap, because the leadership persons who sit in the different levels, they have often not the time, or doesn't take the time for the real leadership that is needed now. They are themselves stuck in operational stuff, too much, way too much. And
Yeah.
this shift we do is not easy. It's not self do it in from the self. It needs this change on the higher levels too, because otherwise there won't go something forward. And this is what I'm talking about.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like kind of like your focus also on like the leadership. We, which is again also a perfect audience in our conference. The um, what what I've very often kind of like seen is that um, people want this and kind of like say, yeah, let's organize it all this way. But as you mentioned, kind of like the hurdles are sometimes forgotten, or sometimes forgotten that you're embedded in a bigger organization where you cannot change everything at once, or sometimes also the changing of some of the interfacing structures, or like other apartments that you interact with, or you mentioned kind of like the governance or policies, or other areas in an organization come into play here as well, and are very often something that you have to overcome or work with. So if we if we look at kind of like that, how much do you think is it something where agile and agility kind of like fails on kind of like a team level, or do you only see, or and how much is it kind of like it fails on the overall organization level?
I would say 2080. So there is still air for optimization in the team level also, yeah, most often. But if they really had get the clue, and most of the teams get the clue after X sprints or whatever, yeah, after a certain kind of time, that they really may change what hurts on their level and inspire change one level above, then they get it. Yeah. So the teams, they get it. And I think the last 10, 15 years, they more and more got it. The team level is not. So what I see, and I work a lot with different companies and leadership persons, and what I see is that that it doesn't hurt on the team level.
Hmm.
When we do in trainings our first retrospectives about what is really hurting, then there is some stuff at the team level, but there are some also many things on other levels. And interestingly, everybody's stuck there or seems to be stuck there because it's seeming like this is not changeable.
Hmm.
And nothing is not changeable.
True, true.
Really, it's not true. We have to
Oh,
learn how to get it addressed so that it can change. And this needs courage, and this needs room for experimentation. And this room and also the courage sometimes is not given in the leadership people.
ah. No, and I'm totally with you that, like, especially for change, it is something where every person can change, every organization can change. So it's always something that can happen. It's not something of the can or cannot.
Mm.
But you mentioned some interesting point, and I'm wondering if it is or has also to do with risk and risk averseness. Because I feel like on a team level, it feels like you work together more on a day-to-day operation. So you have also like immediate feedback if something is working or not, versus if you're kind of like a department head or something like that. You
Mhm.
work with many people in your departments, but you also work across, but it doesn't feel as team and as day to day.
Mhm.
And it is also something where I think there comes in some more risk averseness where you say, okay, if I step something wrong, my career is over, or like some personal like risk averseness comes in. Versus on a team level, it's all kind of like we've figured this out together.
Mhm.
On a management level, it's kind of like, shit, if I do something wrong, what's the impact?
Yeah. Definitely. And the problem that you address now, it lies deeper because it's the question of, do we manage by purpose or do we manage by fear?
Hmm,
And on the team level and department level, we often manage by purpose or by fun or whatever, something positive. And on the levels, the higher you get, often fear comes in, as you
hmm,
say. And this is why then the risk comes up. Yeah? And this is strange in itself because there should be no risk to stand up and say what is really needed. Yeah?
hmm,
So every time you sit in a meeting and ask yourself, may I say this now?
hmm,
The moment you recognize this, you know you are wrong here, completely wrong.
hmm,
There is something running wrong. Yeah, you may not never have to ask yourself if you may say this. And this is a culture thing. Yeah?
hmm,
And this culture has to grow, the culture of, of trust instead of fear. And
hmm,
the other problem you addressed in the beginning is the lonely wolves.
Hmm.
This is such a hindering point that that from a different level up, there is no real cooperation anymore.
Hmm.
Why?
Hmm.
We need this cooperation, really, really.
Yeah.
There is no, it's nothing so ineffective like fighting on a level instead of cooperating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. There is, by the way, a comment. Stephanie asked, do you have any tips on how to act in transformations when the top management only wants progress reports?
Yeah. Then you are asked to convince your top management that the progress reports are bullshit. No, they are not. Yeah, sure. You need metrics, no question. But you it's often a question of transparency and making things transparent and clear also for the management. Um, and again, this is not calculated. Yeah, there are no user stories for that, for convincing management, for getting management on the updated for the right stuff. And often this is not just talking between two meetings a few minutes, but uh, um, it really needs good argumentation, yeah, to convince them and say, well, this doesn't work out. And I know it is not easy, and there's no pattern solution on this. But I made this many times, and I saw also other employees as well as leadership persons doing this and investing the time, and it always pays out, really.
Great. Thank you for the question, but also thank you for the insightful answer, Melanie. I love that. Before we jump into like the next question, just like some commercial break now. If you want to like know more about this, sign up for our Lean Leader Summit. It's in July 3rd and 4th in Munich, where you will hear about this and many more other topics. So let's see if we do have another question coming in. We actually do just have the answer or the feedback that your answer was on point. So that also works. While we wait for the next question coming in, and I like kind of like your lone wolf or kind of like the issue with kind of like the fear that comes more into play on like the top management. One thing that I need to dig up like who said it, but like I once was in a talk where Tim, I forgot his last name, said kind of like he wants to measure management by the number of meetings they are taking with peers across organizations. So like going back to kind of like the progress reports or the status reports, that's kind of like the number one KPI he thought is best for management, because it is to formulate that working together, the cross-functional understandings, the also cross-functional responsibility to drive the organization forward, and therefore don't have kind of like a KPI that is for one department, but have something like that goes across and moves away some of the things that you mentioned as kind of like being the hurdles or the issues.
Yeah, good idea. And in addition to that, I think, well, the moment you introduce this KPI, it will be implemented, more meetings between peers. The question is if this then helps. Yeah, the question is what happens in these meetings, and are these meetings or are these gatherings workshops? Yeah, this makes a huge difference if we really work together, or if we meet to clap on our shoulders and say, "Well, my number is green. How is yours?" yeah, it's a quality thing. Yeah, it's a question of the quality of communication between leaders,
Yeah.
and this you can't measure really with KPIs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mindset question. Yeah, it's a question of mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard yesterday a nice talk from was with Brennan Bouchard, who's kind of like a growth coach, and he said kind of like the mindset is really what makes you move from kind of like an input that's coming in and then into action, and kind of like how you perceive that input. Is it kind of like a threat or is it a chance? Do you want to like can you align it to something you already learned, and does it fit your own personality and your identity and things like that? And how can you kind of like respond to that and move forward with it? So the mindset, I think, is really something that is kind of like the gap between what's coming in and the action that you drive and the action you take to not only do kind of like personal growth activities, but also for the organization growth, for the organization change.
Hmm.
um, and working together as teams is always something where collaboration and interactions with many people come in.
Absolutely. And mindset, I would say nearly everything is a question of mindset. Yeah. And it's often, yeah, you often don't focus on the mindset. You focus on tools and on skills and so on, but not on the mindset. And the mindset is key in everything we do. Yeah, regarding change. Yeah. I often say I love change. But in reality, when we take a closer look, as humans, we are not so we don't like change so much. Also, what we know about brain studies, our brain doesn't like change at all.
Hmm.
Yeah, it tries to avoid change because change is always coming with insecurity. And if we are not aware of this, then we tend to consistency to, okay, linear change is okay if it's going up, otherwise not. And we love to plan, and we love predictability.
Hmm.
Um, but life is not predictable, and neither are complex projects. They're not predictable at all. So we have to live with change and we have to love change.
Hmm.
And this is a mindset question. Am I really um, am I really ready for change? I myself. Because if I am not, then I say, yeah, change is good. So this is now a necessary change. So team A is now named team B. And from team C, we spread up the employees in the other teams and so on. So you do the change outside.
Hmm.
But it's not about doing change outside. It's a thing of, am I changing? Am I willing to change?
Hmm.
Am I willing to support the teams? Am I willing to serve? Yeah, servant leadership.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
servant leadership is a
Good point.
complete mindset change
Yeah.
only.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, yeah.
So come to our Lean Leader Summit, our conference in May in Munich in July, and learn more about this. This was a very exciting talk, Melanie. I really loved our back and forth, and I cannot wait to welcome you on stage in July.
Thank you. I'm also looking forward to it a lot, and also to meet all the people now looking, watching, and listening. I can't see you at the moment, and I'm really looking forward to meet you in live.
Awesome. In person is what's the best for events, collaboration,
Mhm.
learning, changing. So come
Absolutely.
come and get changed.
Yeah, we will change together.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Thank you.